It is the 30th anniversary this year of the release of The English Patient, which I'm struggling with what that means in terms of how much Max and I have aged since this film came out. I was actually 18. It was my 18th birthday, the night of the Academy Awards for The English Patient, when my dad won. Max and I were there together. We were a lot younger. And also with us and sat with us that whole night, kind of looking after us, because Dad was a little busy, was his longtime agent, Michael Pretzian, who is also here tonight, which feels really wonderful. So Michael, wherever you are, thank you for being here. Speaking of anniversaries, you know, when we nominate the screenings for this program, we don't, as governors, pick the date. The Academy does that. And I was initially, I think we were both like a little surprised when the date came through and it was today. Because most of you won't know, but very significant to Max and I is that this is actually also the anniversary of our father's death. He died 18 years ago today. So initially we thought, okay, can we do this? Can we get through an introduction for this movie tonight? And then it just felt like wonderful serendipity that actually, yes, of course, like what better way to think about honoring his memory than celebrating one of his great works. And his loss was obviously profoundly felt personally by Max, myself, and our family, but I think it was also a profound loss for cinema and for all the movies that Dad might have made had he lived longer. So it's really special. It means a lot to us that we get to watch the film again for the first time in a very long time on a screen of this size and in community with all of you. So your coming tonight means more to us than you could possibly know. It's also the first time that my 14-year-old daughter, Delilah, is going to see the movie, which feels like the best possible way for her to get to see it. So thank you for that as well. And I guess the last thing I'd say, and then I want Max to say some words, is just, I think Dad made movies a lot about community, being in community, about thematically a sense of belonging or not belonging, of being an immigrant. And it meant so much to him to belong to this community. I vividly remember being a kid and him showing me his Academy card when he was first accepted into the Academy, and it meant so much to him as this little boy from a little island off the south coast of England to have been welcomed by the Academy. And so I think when I had an opportunity and finally was given my membership to the Academy many decades later, it felt like an incredible legacy of belonging. And so thank you so much for being here to celebrate the Academy and this movie and our dad tonight.
Tough act to follow. Thank you for coming. This is an amazing turnout. And like Hannah said, it's just incredibly meaningful for both of us to get to see this movie like this. So thank you, everybody at the Academy. Thank you, the Academy branch, for hosting this beautiful print. I haven't seen the movie projected, I don't think, in 25 years. I don't think Hannah has either. So this is a real treat. I was trying to think of something clever to say or funny to say. I couldn't really think of either. I've loved this movie since the first time I saw it. It was 4.5 hours long the first time I saw this movie, and I said to my father, don't cut a frame. And he didn't listen to me, and now it's a lean 2 hours and 40 minutes. But it's always really touched me. Obviously, this is an emotional night for us anyway, but I've always found this movie, just separate to my personal relationship to it, a very, very moving film. I think it's been painted in a strange way with time as a sort of Oscar bait movie or a homework movie. And I think those are not entirely fair. You know, it's a film that actually is quite brutal and is adult and is far from soft or saccharine. And nobody wanted to make this movie. It was a fucking nightmare getting this film made. And you know, I put us in some very unusual living circumstances, I remember, for a while. But I was so proud, and Hannah and I were so proud, and still so proud of the resilience that my father showed to get this movie made. You know, there was a lot of pressure on him to make the movie in a way he didn't believe in. And even though he was broke and it was coming off a film that hadn't done very well, he really stuck to his guns. And I think made the version of the film that he believed in the most. And so when it connected in the way that it did, I think it was a total surprise, but really a wonderful, testimony to conviction. I hope that we learned some of that lesson from our father, and I'm very proud of him for making this movie and making it in such a pure-hearted way. So again, if you hear somebody sniffling loudly in the background, I apologize. It's a big night for us, and thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you.